Hello, thank you very much for tuning in. Hello, Stuart, the unrepentant atheist. And it looks like we've got very poor lighting here. See if I can improve it, but oh dear, probably won't be able to do much with it. But anyway, at least you can hear me. So apologies for the poor lighting, and we'll try and make do the best we possibly can. So what I'm going to be talking about in this live stream are the following. I'm going to be reviewing two of the calls that went out on the line with Jimmy Snow and Matt Dillahunty. Went out yesterday, Sunday, the 22nd of December. Two calls. I'm also going to be talking about, well, the idea of atheists celebrating Christmas, why we do it, and whether we should do it, issues connected with that. I think I've talked about this before, but I've had sort of 1 or 2 years to think about it. So we'll see what comes of that, and maybe some of your comments, if you want to leave any comments, that would be fine about that topic. And I'm just a little frustrated at the moment because the lighting on this video is so appalling. I actually bought a better quality. Let's just see if I move it that way, whether it will improve. I actually bought a better quality external cam, and there's no way of actually adjusting the exposure on it while I'm actually doing the live stream, unfortunately. But anyway, we'll have to make do. Okay, let me just sort of get my thoughts in order if I can. Yeah. So the other thing is that I've been to some Christmas services in the last couple of weeks, Christian services. So I've got 1 or 2 comments to make about those, about some of the things that were said and how Christians are approaching Christmas from what I can see as an atheist. And let me see. First of all, though, now I've got a lot of videos on my channel, and the way it usually works is that a video is hot for 3 days. So YouTube gives one of my videos a lot of exposure in the first 24 hours, and it kind of tails off. So as a graph, it will kind of go up like this. Yeah, and then it will kind of start to do that, and then it will just fall off a cliff, because the way that YouTube works is that it gives you a chance to a certain point, and then it will just stop showing your video at all. So all of the views just go off a cliff. At least with my channel and a lot of channels, if you're somebody like Alex O'Connor, who's got hundreds of thousands of views on his videos, they've got what YouTube thinks are long-lasting appeal. They keep being shown. On your feed, if you look in your feed when you go to YouTube, your homepage, you'll find most of the videos you're shown have got like 10 million views, 15 million views. And these are the big hitters. These are the big view videos, and they're shown to you, they're shown to everybody else. And it's like a kind of perpetuating thing. And this is what a lot of YouTubers are trying to get into, videos which have got long-lasting appeal and which can produce long-lasting earning income. Sadly, for most of us, that just doesn't happen. Our videos show for about 3 days, and then that's it. They're just killed by the algorithm. But my point about this is that I've got a lot of videos, and my old videos still get views. I mean, maybe just like a few views a week. And occasionally I will see a comment appear on an old video. Now, I did a video about 6 months ago, and Jimmy Snow and Matt Dillahunty were on, and a caller arrived, and Jimmy made this statement. Jimmy made a statement that he doesn't care if nobody ever watches his show ever again. Now, the caller immediately called him out as a liar and said, well, that's a lie. And I must admit, when I heard Jimmy say that, I don't know why he said it. I think that Jimmy sometimes tries to produce an effect and get some attention and maybe sympathy on himself. So why he would say I don't care if my videos never get any views ever again. I mean, words to those effect. It seemed a bit strange because only a few weeks previous to that, his channel had been bombed by some kind of virus or something, and he was online, he was on YouTube begging people to please view the backup channel or something. He was trying to get viewers back on board. So he was contradicting himself. On the one hand, he wants people to watch, please come back to me, don't let my channel sink. And then a couple of weeks later, he's saying, oh, well, I don't care if anybody ever watches my videos again. That struck me as being arrogant and dishonest when he said that. And I don't know why he said it, um, to produce an effect or something. Who knows? And I sort of drew an analogy, said it would be like if I had a restaurant and I had diners in, and and I went into the dining area and I just told people, look, you guys, I don't care if nobody ever comes to this restaurant again. Sod it. I just don't give a damn. It wouldn't seem to me to be a very good thing to do. It would be a sort of a bit bizarre. And then Jimmy made the statement that uh, it sucks being in the public eye. For somebody like him in particular, being on the screen, being in the public eye, being a public figure sucks. I think it's going a bit far saying that Jimmy Snow is a public figure. Jordan Peterson is a public figure. Richard Dawkins is a public figure. But these small time atheists like Jimmy Snow and others, and me even more so, we're not really public figures because we're virtually unknown. If we walk into the street, nobody's going to recognize us. Nobody's going to recognize Matt Dillahunty. If he walks in any average American town, okay, maybe one or two sort of people who watch YouTube atheist content might say, "Hey, Matt," but by and large, he won't be recognized. He's not a public figure. On the other hand, if Barack Obama walks down the street or Tiger Woods, everybody's going to notice them. They're public figures. So anyway, yeah, it's stretching it a bit for Jimmy to say that he's a public figure, but nevertheless, so for him to say that he hates what he does, he hates being a public figure, he hates being on the show, etc., struck me as being a bit weird. And I made another analogy to do with the restaurant, saying that it would be like a chef saying, "Oh, I hate being a chef." And somebody picked me up on this on my channel, saying loads of people hate their jobs. Yep, absolutely. Couldn't agree with you more. Loads of people hate their jobs, but by and large, not people who are self-employed and go into a particular area. It would be really bad business to go into a particular area. For example, um, to start a YouTube channel where you've got to appear week in, week out on your channel. It would be really bad business to do something that you hate doing. It really would. I know because I'm in business. I've got a business, not this. This is just a hobby. I've got a business. I've had businesses since the 80s when I was young. And to go into an area that you specifically hate, believe me, it's bad business. It shows, and those businesses are not usually successful. So I thought that Jimmy had lied on two counts. One, as he said, he doesn't want anybody ever to watch again. And two, he said he hates this. He hates being a public figure. He hates appearing on the screen. And none of that really made sense. And even if he did hate it, it would be especially bad to come out and say it, for a chef to come out into a restaurant full of diners and say, look, guys, I know you're enjoying the food, but know this, I hate being a chef. I mean, it would really be bizarre and stupid. And I thought that Jimmy was bizarre, stupid, and probably dishonest on that show. And I called him out on it. And I had some criticism about that. Somebody saying, "Oh, lots of people hate their jobs." Yeah, I know. If you're stuck flipping burgers because you've got no other means to earn a living, or that's the only job going, then yeah, I can understand that you would hate your job. I could also understand you'd hate your job if, for example, you go in at the bottom level in an office, and or even if you're an accountant, yeah, you might hate your job. Sure, if you've uh, if you've gone into the accountancy profession, you know, you might start off enjoying your job, and you might eventually hate it. That's true, but you wouldn't go and tell your clients that you hate it, would you? That would be really stupid. And I find it very hard to believe that Jimmy specifically went into this business of making YouTube videos, specifically hating appearing in those videos right from day one. And I've seen him on videos, and it doesn't look to me like he hates what he does. He seems to be having a good time. So anyway, okay, I'll just move on from that. And I noticed on that video I made, quite a few people agreed with me, and they thought Jimmy was being dishonest. But there were one or two who said that no, he's not being dishonest. He's got autism, blah blah blah, etc., etc. And I don't know. Sometimes I think that I think that Jimmy's generally fairly sound in terms of the way that he counters theist arguments. But sometimes I think that he's looking for sympathy and he likes drawing attention to himself. And it doesn't look to me like he hates being a public figure. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. And I can be wrong. Matt Dillahunty's said and admitted that he's been wrong. And nobody says to him, "Oh, well, if you admit you're wrong, um, how can I trust anything you'll ever say again? If you admit that you're fallible, how can I put?" Well, look, and I've had people say that to me. I can't trust anything you ever say again because you made a mistake on this or XYZ. You shouldn't trust anything that I say. Who am I that you're going to trust anything that I say? Anything that I say, what you should do is evaluate it. You might evaluate it and say, yep, Stuart's bang on the nail there, or I think he's a bit wrong there. So, no, I don't generally trust what anybody says unless they're experts. And, like, for example, if Richard Dawkins tells me something about the theory of evolution, I don't really feel like I need to go and check it and verify that it's true because I don't know of all the credentials he's got and he's an expert and everything. So, yeah, I trust what he says on that. But as for atheists like me and Matt Dillahunty, etc., you guys out there, you should always be evaluating what we're saying and not sort of trusting what I say. I mean, could you give me an example of something I would say that you would have to trust? Not really. Okay. So let's move on to the calls. Yeah, just a couple of calls I'm going to look at. Let's have a look. So yeah, we had Andrew calling in, and yeah. Okay, so Andrew called in. He's a theist, and of course, Matt Dillahunty asked him why do you believe in God? His answer to that was, well, I read the Bible and I acquired the knowledge. I love that kind of answer. I really do, because of where it's going to go. And he then went on to say that God is written into the Bible. You read the Bible, you get knowledge of God. That's how I know that God's real. And then he went on to say that there are two types of truth. One is opinion-based truth, and the other one is fact-based truth. So I think what he's trying to say there probably is that, let's have an example of a fact. Antarctica is a continent. Okay, that's a fact. It's a geographical fact. Yeah, it can be proven and everything. It's an indisputable fact. Nobody disputes that Antarctica is a continent. It's not a matter of opinion. Okay, so I think where he's going with this is that he's saying that opinion-based truth would fall under religion. So his opinion is there's a God. It hasn't been established as a fact. It's a matter of opinion, or maybe we'll paraphrase for him and say it's a matter of belief. Yeah. He went to some kind of, I'm not sure if it was Matt or him or Andrew who went to an analogy on a lottery. I'm not sure, but that didn't work. I'm not going to comment on that. Jimmy very correctly went to saying that he's got a friend by the name of Ali, and in his opinion, the Muslim God is real, Allah is real, and the God of the Bible, the Christian God, is not real. That's his opinion. In the same way that Andrew's opinion is that the Christian God is real. So, what do you say to that? And then he went on to saying that it goes to what you want to believe. Oh, that was another funny one. And of course, Matt had something to say about that. He said, "No, it doesn't go to it doesn't go to what you want to believe. I could believe that I'm a billionaire, but obviously I'm not a billionaire, so no, it doesn't go to what you want to believe." And then he went on. He's asked many times. He often asks theists, "Do you want beliefs which are true or which are comforting?" Okay, so he said, "Well, of course, my beliefs are comforting and they're true as well." um, and then he came on to saying that, yeah, no, non-believers, because Matt asked him, "What happens to non-believers?" And he said, "Well, on Judgment Day, yeah, it's true. Not non-believers will go to hell, but on Judgment Day, you will stand before God and you will be asked if you believe," which I think was a bit stupid. I don't think that's going to happen because obviously, if you're standing before God and God says, "Do you believe or not?" Of course, you're going to say yes because God's standing there. Finally, you've got proof, you've got evidence. So, no, that's not going to happen. The way I understand it is you've got a chance to believe while you're living on earth, and that when your heart stops beating and you're brain dead and you drift up to heaven or wherever, it's already too late. It's already time stamped on the day of on the moment of your death, whether you're a believer or not. And it looks to me like you won't be standing before God at all if you're a non-believer. You'll simply be going down below. Okay, so let's have a look. Right. And then he went to morality, and this was his next go-to argument about why religion is true, because without morality, without the Bible, we wouldn't have a moral code book. And Matt realized that Andrew really didn't know, was really just talking about core morality. Thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not kill, love thy neighbor, etc. And he said, "Well, you're probably not aware, but do you believe that homosexual acts are moral or not?" So, and slavery, etc. And it seemed that Andrew didn't really seem to know much about his Bible. Okay. I'm not sure if it was Matt that said if somebody came to you and said fairies exist and it's important that you believe in them, what would you say? And Andrew said, well, he'd be skeptical, but he'd want to hear what his argument was. And then he went to, well, there are one God in many religions. So it's like there's this thing that there's some truth in every religion. Okay, let's see if I've written anything else down. Yeah. Well, that's about it, really. But towards the end of the call, Andrew seemed to be making some progress in terms of accepting that he didn't have good reasons for his beliefs. And then he suddenly, near the end, said, "Look, only God knows who's going to be saved and who isn't," which kind of undid all the good. All the progress they'd made suddenly got thrown away with just one claim. And Jimmy just said to him, "Look, you better quit while you're ahead." So that was the end of the call. Okay, so then the next call I'm going to cover is John's call. This is another one where Matt starts every single show, and he says he says at the start of every single show, "Look, don't call me with your esoteric gods. Only call me with real gods that impact on the world." And yet John called in, and when he said he's a theist, Matt said, "Which God?" John replied, "The God within you." I thought, oh no, this is not going in the right direction. So for John, God is the creator who lives within us. He's the whole universe and a lot more besides. When Matt said, well, where does he live within us? He said he lives in your consciousness, he lives in your heart, and you can sense God and know that God is there when you meditate. Jimmy said he'd meditated and he hadn't detected any God. Matt said his heart pumps blood. There's definitely no God there. And then it came to this sort of esoteric thing that, God made the universe, but God is in everything. And in the end, it was just the same as sort of the God of New Age mysticism. Yeah, God is everywhere. God is in all of us, etc. And Matt was getting tired of this, and John just suddenly signed off and said, "Look, I leave you with love. Namaste." And that was it. And I can't remember what Matt said, but it wasn't very nice. Yeah. Okay. So actually, I mean, the other calls, there was a woman that called in, Maureen. She called in and she's deconstructing and she's talking about why she still clings to belief, etc. And then there was another caller who'd been on the line for an hour apparently and was using some kind of voice changer or something. And that caller was on for an hour and somehow within 2 minutes had dropped, and I just thought what a waste of time that was. So okay, the other things I want to talk about. So yeah, not much there. I've not really covered many calls. Um, Talk about a couple of other things. Yeah, so I've been to a couple of services in the last week or so. Um, I've been to a couple of services. Yeah, let me see. Yeah, so okay, Advent, right? Advent candles. There are 4 Advent candles, right? How many of you know that? Yeah, one candle for each Sunday before Christmas. Okay. Now, I hate to say this, but I didn't know what Advent candles were yet, but now I do. So, with the Advent candle in this church, there are 4 candles, and then there's a big white one in the middle. And the white one in the middle, I think, represents Christ. So, yeah, I didn't know that, but I know it now. The Advent candles are apparently a bigger thing in Germany. I've got a German friend who sent me, like a picture of 4 red candles. So, yeah, that's Advent candles. And so quite a lot was said about the meaning of Christmas, but a lot of it was based around the nativity and everything. And there were hymns like, I don't know, um, Little Donkey and some of the sort of children type hymns. Uh, yeah, a lot of people were there simply because it's near Christmas. Everybody crowds in around Christmas. And yeah, okay, sorry. Yeah, so the minister said, "Yeah, what's the meaning of Christmas?" Well, the meaning is this: that this gift from God was brought into the world to um, pay out all of the sins of mankind. That through the suffering of Christ, this gift from God to the world, through the suffering of Christ, all of our sins were paid out, and we have the chance of salvation. And I smiled. In fact, I even sniggered a little. I hope nobody heard me. Because in a way I thought, what a kind of confidence trick. You invent a god, you create some rules, you create the concept of sin, and then um, you stain people and make them believe that they've sinned and that they're permanently stained with original sin, and then you create a cure for this sacrifice, and then you make people beholden to this sacrifice, such that they've got to follow the religion or fail to be saved. And it just struck me that life would be much more simple. We wouldn't have this debt to pay out if there were no God, would we? There wouldn't be, life would be much simpler. In fact, if there is no God, then there's no debt to pay out. And the concept of sin goes away. And then all we've got is morality, doing right and wrong to others without a God being necessary. So I don't know. Christianity to me, and I think to a lot of people, just is like a kind of confidence trick, really. Okay. I'll just say to Artangelo, thanks for your question. Explain our existence without a creator. Well, um, I believe, I believe in all probability that everything came about by purely natural forces. I can't explain where the first replicating cell came from, but that doesn't mean that uh, a God was responsible for it. It may well be that in time to come, we will be able to recreate abiogenesis and demonstrate that these self-replicating cells um, can occur naturally. But and in any case, I'm not making any specific claim. I'm willing to accept that a God may well be responsible for everything that we see in front of us, responsible for life and all the natural forces. I accept that may be the case, and I'm not saying it isn't the case, but I'm not making any specific claim. I'm not absolutely saying that it's all natural forces. I'm saying that we only know about nature. We've only got the natural universe in front of us. We haven't got any evidence of anything supernatural or any other forces. And at the moment, it looks like everything is the result of natural forces. I can say that with a fair degree of confidence, but not absolute confidence. But I'm willing to accept that there is a supernatural super force out there, so a God, a conscious agent creator. I'm prepared to accept that, but it's going to take more than saying to me, explain our existence without a creator. That's not enough. I'm going to need more than that. So just because I can't explain something doesn't mean that that's not evidence for a creator. Do you understand? So that's my answer to that. No, I can't explain our existence without, I can't explain our existence, I mean, with or without a creator. But I believe that probably it could be the result of purely natural forces. And I don't really see how anybody could rule that out. Okay. So yeah, just coming back to this. Yeah. So the Christian message that this gift came to the world in Jesus Christ, the Immaculate Conception, and the purpose was to pay out the sins of mankind. Plus, obviously, Jesus brought a message to people. And the main point, though, is that only through Jesus can one come to salvation. And that obviously has got serious repercussions, if true, for all those people who are not Christians. Okay, so let's see. Let me just move on to my final topic then. Yeah, my final topic is atheists celebrating Christmas. Yep, this does seem strange, doesn't it? Look, if I lived in Iran, I wouldn't be celebrating Ramadan, would I? No. I wouldn't be celebrating any Muslim festival. I wouldn't be celebrating in India Diwali or any of their festivals. And I wouldn't be celebrating what? What are the Jewish festivals? Um, Somebody help me with a Jewish festival. Terrible. What are the Jewish festivals? The Passover, is that a Jewish festival? I'm not sure. Sorry. My my knowledge of religious festivals is not that great. It's particularly bad in Judaism by the looks of it. If somebody will say a word, I probably will recognize it. Okay. Thank you, late night kaiju. Hanukkah. Okay, Hanukkah. I haven't heard of that, but I wonder what it celebrates. Okay. So yeah, about atheists celebrating Christmas. At one time, a couple of years ago, I thought, well, I'm an atheist now. No, I've been an atheist. It's stupid for atheists to celebrate Christmas. I suppose, in one sense, I'm not really celebrating Christmas. I'm not celebrating Christmas in the Christian sense. Um, for me, Christmas is uh, it's a time when I don't know. I suppose it's a family time when family and friends come together, and it might be a chance to set aside any differences and just be good and nice to each other. And it also comes near the end of the year, the new year. So it's like a time for a fresh start to recognize what's happened in the year, the good, the bad, etc., to take stock of what's happened, sit down with people that are close to you, and just celebrate being together and celebrate the good things in life without any appeal to anything religious, anything supernatural. And I think that can be done. It's called Christmas, which means obviously Mass of Christ. So, but I think when a lot of atheists say Christmas, they don't actually think of Christ Mass, do they? They just think of it as a word. But nevertheless, there's a lot of Christian imagery around at Christmas, Christmas cards, etc. So it's difficult not to acknowledge that Christmas is specifically a Christian holiday and festival that all us atheists, because we've culturally been sort of growing up in this society, which has been a Christian society, we it's something that we can't let go of, because you could have a table with nothing but atheists sitting around it celebrating Christmas, even with some Christian imagery around, even singing Christmas carols with Christian themes. And yet, atheists will quite happily sit around a table and do all that. So I know some atheists who are very hardline and they won't celebrate Christmas. They specifically cold shoulder Christmas. And that's fine if they want to do that. I think that they're making an ideological point of principle, something that I don't really feel the need to do. I I don't really class myself as a militant atheist. That's to say that I don't believe that Christianity has met its burden of proof, and I think it's a bizarre religion. But we live in a country where people can have any religion that they want for any reason that they want, and I respect that. I respect if people want to believe these things and or whatever reasons they believe in them, even if I don't believe in them. And I'm not a militant atheist trying to shut down Christianity. I'm hoping that in decades to come, as we've seen from all the census information, that there are fewer and fewer people all the time believing in religion. It's going in the right direction. There's no need for me to become a militant atheist standing outside department stores with a placard saying, um, stop celebrating this festival if you don't believe in the Christian God. That's not something that I would be interested in doing and proselytizing for not celebrating Christmas. So for me, when I celebrate Christmas, I'm not celebrating the birth of Christ. No. I mean, one could say perhaps if you want to, and maybe some Christians would say that, okay, but at least I'm celebrating some of the principles that Jesus stood for, like love thy neighbor, forgiveness, hope, charity, love. Yeah, sure. All of those themes are part of Christmas. And if you want to say that these originated with Jesus, you could say that. And in that sense, me celebrating Christmas, even if I'm not a Christian, makes some kind of sense, because I'm I'm acknowledging what Christmas is about from a Christian from for Christians. That's fine, but I purposefully, going into Christmas, detach myself from the claims about Jesus being the Son of God, salvation, etc. And I've got no issue with other atheists or people from other religions taking part in the Christian festival. Who knows? Maybe if I was living in Iran or Iraq, I would have Muslim friends. And when Ramadan rolls around, who knows? maybe I would be sitting with those same Muslims and joining in with their celebration, but without being a Muslim. I suppose that's possible. Okay. Um, let's see. I don't know really. I think I think that's about it. I can't really. Yeah, it's not been a very long. It's not been a very long stream because I watched that show this morning. I haven't watched any other shows really. I think there was one that I watched last week, which I could comment on, but I've forgotten the cause. Yeah, well, Heisenberg. Yeah, well, I was in church singing Christmas carols, and um, some of the best Christian songs are actually Christmas carols, and you know, I kind of enjoyed I kind of enjoyed singing those carols, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm an atheist. And even if I might have felt something while I was singing those carols, because I mean, look, you stood with lots of people around you, and the music of the songs is quite emotional, and so the words. I mean, some of the Christian stories are quite um, sort of emotionally involving. This idea, for example, about uh, Mary sitting on a little donkey and Joseph leading the donkey. I mean, if it was true, if it was true, and there really is a God, and that Mary was really carrying uh, the Son of God, or the hope for all mankind in her belly, the most important human being that has ever existed, is sitting on a little tiny um, scruffy donkey. I mean, if this was all true, it would be really even more moving. It would be really even greater story if it was true. And of course, Christians really do believe that it is true. It's a strong story, even if it's not true. There are very, very moving stories. There are novels which you can read and that will make you cry, simply because the stories are so powerful and well written, even though it's just fiction. So it shouldn't be a surprise that me standing in a church singing about a little donkey that's got the mother of God sitting on this little donkey, and then going to a manger, going to a barn because they can't, nobody will take them in. There's nowhere to stay. The greatest riches, the greatest king being born in the most basic of circumstances is a strong story, even if it's not true. That's the point. And I'm standing there in church singing these songs, and I'm feeling something all the time, acknowledging that okay, yeah, it's an amazing story, but uh, is there any truth behind it? I mean, that's the point. Okay, well, by the way, yes, thank you very much, late night kaiju, for those £5. I do appreciate that. Very kind of you. Yeah. Merry Christmas to you as well. Um, yeah. So don't think that I've been going to church now because my partner's a Christian. I've been going to church now for over a year. Don't think that I've never and just stood there smugly scorning everything that's going on because I'm an atheist. I've been going there partly to learn what makes Christians tick, what makes them believe, how do they worship, is there anything useful to be gained from any of this? And occasionally I've found useful things in church. I've found some of the sermons, some of the stories that I've heard, interesting, helpful, even enlightening. I've found many useful things. I've found support. I've found goodwill from people, because there's a social aspect to it as well. Everybody goes off and has coffee and biscuits after the service, and I've felt all the goodwill and good cheer from people. But in the end, I'm still an atheist, and I'm sure. Look, I don't go around broadcasting my atheism to Christians. Um, there's nothing to be gained from that. If people ask me, and they have done, one or two people, and I've said to one or two people, you know, um, I'm not a Christian. I've told them. So I haven't told everybody, but one or two people know that I'm not a Christian. I don't know whether word is spread around, but I haven't noticed in particular that people are sort of steering clear of me. I think that probably if anybody in there knows that I'm an atheist and they see me week in, week out, they're probably hoping that one day I'll see the light and you know, I'll I'll come to the I'll come to the steps before the altar. I'll fall to my knees. I'll cross myself and I'll prostrate myself in front of the cross and in front of the whole congregation and say that I was once blind and now, hallelujah, I can see. But until that happens, I remain an atheist. Yeah, but no, I'm not standing there laughing, and I do find the beliefs kind of bizarre. And I was brought up a sort of Christian. My mother gave me a beautiful little Bible when I was about 8 years old. One of these little black Bible with gilt pages and um, with a sort of bookmarker in it. And yeah, so yeah, I was brought up a Christian, but by the time I was 15, I just thought I can't really see any of this being true, or at least I can't see the miracles. I can't see the resurrection. Um, I think that this is probably just mythology. So anyway, um, yeah, well, all of you. Now I'm going to say to you, have a good. I mean, obviously, to those of you who are Christians, I'll say have a great Christmas, and by that I probably mean that have a great time with your families and friends. But also, if you're a believing Christian, then have a great time spiritually. I mean, why not? If if you if you're a Christian, yeah, have a great time spiritually, and I hope that Christmas it means something to you as you're Christians, and that you obviously take all the spiritual joy from it that you can. For those of you who are atheists, I will say have a great Christmas and um, be nice to all your family and friends, as I'm sure you will do, and drink, be merry, eat a lot, but not too much, so that after you've had your Christmas dinner, it shouldn't be that somebody's got to carry you out of the dining room. Okay, don't eat too much. Um, I mean, have a good feast, but don't try and put too much into your mouth at the same time. String it out a bit, eat a little bit, stagger it, because there's a lot of food to get through at Christmas. And really, for it to be a proper feast, that food has got to be sort of lasting throughout, say, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day. You should be kind of eating and drinking virtually the whole time, but you can avoid, you can avoid collapse or that dreadful sort of um, Christmas afternoon feeling after dinner where you feel like just lying down. You can avoid that by just not being too much of a glutton, really. Okay, well, that's it. I'll be back. I'll be back soon. Let me see. When will I be back? After the new year, probably. Well, no, sooner than that. I'm going to make a couple of videos tomorrow and upload them. So you'll see me making my normal videos. And you know something? It's a shame there are people who see no value in the the videos I do where I look at the call-ins and I do a commentary on the call-ins. The last the last video I did, I had 3 people leave comments, not appreciative comments, but not everybody can like every YouTube video, and I accept that. But what a lot of people don't realize is that I do a live stream every week because people say, "Oh, you're just making money out of Matt Dillahunty's name." Well, first of all, I'm hardly making any money, I can assure you. And secondly, uh, I mean, I talk so much in the videos I do that if I mean, if I was really so bad, then people would just go to the original source literally 30 seconds into the video. But just to say that if I do a 15-minute video, the average watch time on that on a 15-minute video that I do is usually about 6.5 minutes. Now, bear in mind that I lose 30% of viewers in the first 30 seconds because people click on. This is not just with me, this is across the board on YouTube. A lot of people click on a video and within 10, 20 seconds, they're bored and they click away and go somewhere else. So, yeah, my average, including all those that just watch 30 seconds or less, is 6.5 minutes on a 15-minute video. So, those who are not jumping off quickly are actually watching for around about 10 minutes, which actually, out of a 15-minute video, if I was as bad as some people say that I am, there's no way that so many people would be watching my videos for that length of time if they were so utterly irritated with my commentary, etc., and my reactions. So, yeah, okay, well, that's it. I'll sign off now. Merry Christmas to you, and if I don't say this again, well, hope you all have a good festive season and Happy New Year. Bye for now.